2-0 here. He's been so good in this count. He does, and it's belted! Right field! Jeffrey Hurd, are you kidding me? It's tied! Unbelievable! Jeffrey Hurd flips the bat! It's 3-3 in the ninth! You gotta be kidding me! The swing of the year! 399, over 100 miles an hour. Jeffrey Hurd, are you kidding me? And he steps on home plate just in case.
Let's go, baby! Let's go, baby! Let's go, moment too small.
It's belted! Right field! Jeffrey Hart, are you kidding me? It's tied! Unbelievable! Jeffrey Hart flips the bat! It's 3-3 in the ninth! You gotta be kidding me! The swing of the year! 399! Over 100 miles an hour! Jeffrey Hurd, are you kidding me? And he steps on home plate just in case.
Won't you follow me into the jungle? Ain't no God on my streets, in the heart of the jungle. Won't you follow me into the jungle? Ain't no God on these streets, in the heart of the jungle.
Well, for the big train, it's one of the most memorable games in history as we're back for Game 2 of the semifinals here at Shirley Povich Field. Eli Kleinman, I'm Adam Glover. We appreciate you being with us on the Big Train Baseball Network. The Big Train, my goodness, what a start to the playoffs. An incredible finish last night, Eli. A 4-3 final in 12 innings. But, of course, we couldn't get there without the pitching. Before we go into the late heroics of the offense, the pitching, outstanding. Brandon Cassidy, a fantastic start. What was going right for him?
He's as consistent as you get from a starting pitcher. The fastball, the slider, working for most of the night. One mistake, the two-run homer. Outside of that, he was brilliant. Gave the big train 7 big innings.
Now, Max Martzoff also excellent in relief, 3 big innings. He's been one of the most reliable relievers in the entire Cal Ripken League. The adrenaline was there. You could see he was fired up, really had good command of that fastball. What was different from the last time he pitched against the Cropdusters?
Well, he was out of the back end of the bullpen instead of starting a position he said last night after the game he feels a lot more comfortable in, and he said the energy last night was as good as it's been all summer for both the team and the fans here at Shirley Povich Field.
Well, of course, the moment last night was the home run for Jeffrey Hurd. So take a look again at one of the greatest swings and biggest home runs in Big Train history.
Let's go, Big Train! Let's go, Big Train!
I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot, just like the fajita. I write what I live, my life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow, just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam, I'm feeding the meter. They got the iron while I got the steamer.
Jeffrey Hart, are you kidding me? It's time! It's the fair ball down the left field line. In with a stand-up double and the winning run in scoring position. Appearances last time up that resulted in a walk. And it's a slow chopper. And the Big Train win the game! Are you kidding me? Casey Bishop, the hero tonight, and the Big Train take Game 1 of the semifinals. And in 12 innings, a 4-3 final for the Big Train tonight, and what is one of, if not the most exciting games in recent memory for Bethesda. Well, this game originally not intended to be played here at Shirley Povich Field, instead up at First Responder Field in Olney, Maryland, but a late change, Eli. You and I had the privilege of going up there a little bit earlier to set up the equipment, and the field not in great shape, so both these sides decided let's play it at Povich for tonight. But Ryan Erdelschweiger, he gets the ball. He's been consistent lately, but what does he have to do tonight to limit this Cropdusters lineup?
Limit the walks. He's had multiple walks in every start this summer, but if he can be closer to 2 than 4 or 5, he's going to be in a great position. The Big Train are 6-0 in his 6 starts this season.
Well, don't go anywhere. His first pitch against the Cropdusters is coming up in just a few minutes. For Eli Kleinman, I'm Adam Glover. Game 2 of the semifinals right around the corner.
watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up. 'Cause nothing feels as good as summer love. Move so fast. Here's hoping this night will last. Just let go. We're spinning with our eyes closed. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun
It's the Cal Ripken League Semi-Finals Series. The Cropdusters and the Big Train, they battle in Game 2. The Big Train one win away from returning to the finals for the 14th consecutive season. The Cropdusters, with their backs against the walls, need to beat the Big Train at Shirley Povich Field to keep their season alive. Welcome along, Adam Glover, Eli Kleinman. Happy to join you tonight from Shirley Povich Field. The Cropdusters are the home team. First responder field up and only unplayable, and so tonight's game will be here in Bethesda. Let's give you the starting lineup for the road team, the Bethesda Big Train. It looks like this: 23-13 the record under Sal Colangelo. Dixon Williams leads things off, followed by Dean Twigo. Teddy Ruffner slides into the 3 spot. Jeffrey Hurd hits cleanup once again, the swing of the season last night with 2 outs in the 9th. Jacob Orbat's 5th, and Jason Schiavone hits 6th. Rasmussen hits 7th. Ruddle hits 8th, and once again, Casey Bishop rounds things out. Let's give you the defense for the Cropdusters. It's on the mound, Josh Beck and Canizaro behind the plate. Swenda and Sanchez on the left side, Martin Kirk on the right side, Baumhofer, Mira, and Seibert across the outfield. And it's time to meet Josh Beck, the starting pitcher for the Cropdusters, the future Florida Tech product. He transfers there from Central Alabama Community College, making his 4th start of the summer. A 2.73 ERA, and last faced the Big Train 7 days ago. We went 4 innings, allowed just 2 runs in the losing effort, and this will be the 4th time he has faced the Big Train this summer. Some success, some performances he wish he could have back. Game 2 of the semifinal begins right now. The Big Train 1 win away from the championship series. They are the road team here at Shirley Povich Field. Dixon Williams, the lefty, steps to the plate to get things started. An 0-for-5 day yesterday for the leadoff man. First pitch from the tall lefty on the mound, and Williams takes a slider. Called a strike on the outside corner, 0-1, 7:09 first pitch. As the sun shines down above the trees in right center field. Beck, set at the belt, 0-1. Williams lines it into center field. It lands in front of Mira for a base hit, and Dixon Williams is aboard with a leadoff single. Big Train with no offense to be found through 7 innings last night, but they scored 3 runs in the 8th and the 9th. Able to tie the game, send it to extras, where they walked it off in the 12th, as Dean Twigo comes to the plate with excellent speed at first.
And Dixon Williams didn't have a hit last night, but had a hit in his previous 5 games against the Cropdusters.
First pitch to Twigo, a swing and a miss on a fastball upstairs, no balls and a strike. In the regular season, it was 7 for 16 against the Cropdusters, but 0 for 5 last night was Williams. The 0-1 slider to Twigo outside, a ball and a strike. Big Train wearing their road uniforms here at their home park, but they are the road team. Black uniforms, the black caps with the gray brims and the gray pants. Beck stares at Williams at first, 1-1, and Twigo watches a fastball just miss low below the knees, 2 balls and a strike. Cropdusters in their yellow home jerseys, yellow pants, and a black hat with their plain logo with a yellow brim. 2-1 to Twigo, and he takes a slider well outside. It's 3 balls and a strike. Twigo also 0 for 5 yesterday in the losing effort, but has been fantastic the end of the regular season. 3-1. He crushes a baseball right field. Back goes the right fielder, Seibert, and it's over his head, and Karam's off the wall. Williams gets the stop sign at third. He runs straight through it, and he's in to score. The Big Train strike first. It's 1-0 in the top of the first. An RBI double for Dean Twigo, and an early lead for Bethesda.
Well, Twigo is the Cal Ripken League Player of the Week, a guy who hit nearly 400 and didn't look like his typical self. A lot of weak contact last night, but today, back to his usual self. A beautiful swing.
So the 2 guys at the top who were so quiet last night, have made an instant impact as Twygo points towards the bullpen in his celebration, and Teddy Ruffner comes to the plate with nobody out and a runner at second. The first pitch to him, a curveball low and inside, a ball and no strikes. Ruffner scored the game-winning run last night after he led off the 12th with a double. He hits third tonight against the lefty, 1-0, and he lines it right back off the screen, a ball and a strike. Big Train have never lost a semifinal game since the Cal Ripken League switched to a semifinal series back in 2015. A perfect 15-0. 1-1. Swing and a miss. The changeup fools Ruffner. It's a ball and two strikes as the hat falls off the head of Beck. Still looking for the first out of the inning. 1-0 Big Train in the top of the first.
Ruffner had a double off Beck the last time these two played each other in Olney.
1-2, and the curveball never comes close to the top of the zone. It stays upstairs, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Then you add in a really good night last night. No surprise that Sal Colangelo moves him up into that number 3 spot in the lineup.
A walk and a double after he pinch hit. 2-2, and he takes a fastball well upstairs and away. Again, the hat falls off the head of Beck. He puts it back on and resets as he walks around the mound. A warm 81 degrees at first pitch as the sun shines onto Shirley Povich Field. Twygo, the small lead off a second. 3-2 to Ruffner, and he swings and taps it foul down the third base line and over towards the Big Train dugout. The count remains full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And prepare to see a heavy dose of the breaking ball from Beck. It's a pitch that, like you mentioned when you first talked about him, has its moments and it has its struggles.
Another 3-2 to Ruffner, and he swings and misses, strikes out for out number 1, and a must-have out for Josh Beck on the mound with 1 away. It brings up the man of the night from yesterday, Jeffrey Hurd, whose 2-run home run in the 9th kept the Big Train alive and led them to a 1-0 series lead. The infield shifts to the right with the shortstop Sanchez playing behind second base. First pitch to Hurd, and the slider misses below the knees, a ball and no strikes.
And last night, Hurd did have another plate appearance after the home run because the game went 12 innings. One of the biggest ovations we've seen this year for a Big Train player when they step up to the plate.
A powerful lefty with 6 home runs on the summer. There goes Twygo to third. The 1-0 upstairs. Throw down is not in time. Swenda, the third baseman, applies the tag right on the foot of Twygo, but there to make the call is Dustin Fields, the third base umpire, and there's a runner at third with 1 out. A 2-0 count to Hurd. It's the same count that he did his damage last night.
It was interesting. I talked to both Zeb Ruddle and Jason Schiavone pregame. Both of them thought it was a fastball that Hurd had hit, including myself and you, but Hurd said it was a slider, but the slider never broke.
2-0, and he takes well outside. That's a fastball. It's 3 balls and no strikes. Beck does not challenge Hurd with 2 bases open. A runner at third, 1 out, top of the first. 1-0 Big Train. Hurd waits at the box. 3-0. He takes again, and he takes a strike as he tosses the bat and has to scoop it up off the dirt. Bill Worthington, our home plate umpire. Ian Pittenger is at first base tonight for this umpiring crew. Beck set at the belt. 3-1, and that's outside with a fastball. That's ball 4, and there's runners at the corners for Jacob Orr. Orr kept the 9th inning alive last night. A grounder that was not hit hard to third, reached on an error by the third baseman Tay Robinson, kept the game alive for Hurd, and then Hurd had his heroics. The shadows cover much of the outfield and the infield. The first pitch to Orr, the fastball catches the inside corner, called a strike, 0-1. Orr has been in the heart of this lineup since his arrival to Bethesda. And played a huge impact last night, a throw to first. And Hurd takes one step back to the bag. In safely.
I'd like to see Orr, at the very least, try to get a fly ball to the outfield and see if you can get Twygo in.
0-1. And Orr pops it foul behind the plate, over the seats and out of play. 0-2 the count. Back with already one strikeout tonight, in dire need of a second. At third is Twygo, at first is Hurd. Already one run in for the big train. 0-2. Orr lines it foul down the first base line, and the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. The big train did not lead at any point last night until they walked it off in the bottom of the 12th. They have flipped the script here in the top of the first. 0-2. Orr takes a called third strike on the inside corner. The slider freezes him, and that's 2 strikeouts for Beck and 2 away.
Yeah, Beck constantly going with the high fastball. I think it just raised the eye level from Orr for a little bit, and Beck takes advantage of that, sticking with the fastball. Haven't seen too much of that breaking ball just yet. Eli has a lot of confidence in that heater.
It's Jason Schiavone at the plate with 2 down. And the first pitch, a fastball in the dirt, a ball and no strikes. Schiavone, the unsung hero from last night, got the big train on the board with a home run in the 8th. Also had a double, ended a 5-game hitless streak for him. Chance to drive in a run in the top of the first. 1-0. Schiavone takes a fastball perfectly placed on the lower outside corner, a ball and a strike. Adam, do you expect Hurd to take off at some point here this at-bat? Big Train love to use the stolen base with runners at the corners.
That's a
1-1, and Schiavone lines it right back off the screen, a ball and 2 strikes.
I wanted to wait to make sure I didn't interrupt a potential real call there for you, It is possible. This is where it would be with 2 strikes. I wouldn't have expected it earlier, but the only tricky thing is you do have 2 outs. So if that out occurs at second.
As Hurd goes, the throw down to second. He slides in, and the tag applied by Sanchez is in time to get him. And the inning comes to an end. Hurd thrown out trying to steal, and that sends us to the bottom of the first. But the big train on the board early. An RBI double for Dean Twygo gives the big train a 1-0 lead with the Cropdusters coming to bat.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone.
And we welcome you back to the bottom of the first here from Shirley Povich Field, the big train, the road team tonight. So let's take a look at the home team. The Cropdusters lineup presented by Adam Leader, 22-14 their record in the regular season. Braden Martin leads things off again. Will Baumhofer slots into the 2 spot after he came in as a replacement last night. Matt Mira hits 3rd, and John Cyber, who hit a home run last night, hits 4th. Jack Cannizzaro, who hit the first home run of the postseason, bats 5th, and Anthony Swenda hits 6th. It's Jimmy Kirk, Tay Robinson, and Patrick Sanchez who round out the lineup for the Cropdusters. And let's take a look at the defense for the big train. On the mound is Ryan Erdelschweiger, Schiavone behind the plate, Williams, Rasmussen, Bishop, and Twygo across the infield, or Ruddle and Hurd in the outfield. And that gives us an opportunity to take a look at tonight's starting pitcher for the Big Train. That is Ryan Erdelschweiger, making his 7th start of the summer. The Big Train have yet to lose a start made by Erdelschweiger, a 2.62 ERA in 24 innings pitched. His last start 7 days ago against the Cropdusters in the win, 4 innings, 1 earned run allowed. Adam, what is the key tonight for Erdelschweiger if the Big Train are going to have success?
Yeah, it's going to be limiting the walks. An interesting note about Erdelschweiger, if you go back and rewatch some of those previous starts, he does run into some issues the first time through the lineup, which can be a little unusual. Usually it's the second or third time when you run into trouble. But if he can limit the walks, it's really going to be the key for him, because you can't give extra at-bats to a Cropdusters lineup who we didn't really see the offense too much last night, but can break out at any point in time.
The lefty Braden Martin leads things off in the bottom of the first. 1-0 Big Train as Erdelschweiger steps off and resets on the mound. Peeks over his glove, and the first pitch home, and a fastball misses well up and outside. A ball and no strikes. This battery for the Big Train have done it all spring and into the summer, both at James Madison. Freshman this year was Erdelschweiger as the 1-0 changeup catches the outside corner. A ball and a strike. Schiavone, a year older, and the veteran on that James Madison team. So he heads into his junior year. A bunt from Martin on the 1-1. Down the third baseline. Williams, the third baseman, picks it up with his bare hand, slings it to first, but not in time, and the speedy Martin able to reach on a bunt single to begin the bottom of the first. And Will Baumhofer comes to the plate with a runner at first and nobody out. Oh for 1 last night with a strikeout in the loss. Second lefty in this lineup. Erdelschweiger from the stretch, and the first pitch a mile high, and Schiavone has to pop out of the squat to haul it in. A ball and no strikes. Fantastic speed at first with Martin. 12 stolen bases on the summer. A look over from Erdelschweiger, the 1-0. Up and away with the fastball, 2 balls and no strikes. The Cropdusters need to win if they want to keep their season alive. Big Train can clinch a spot in the final with a win tonight. 2-0. And again, the fastball misses. It's outside. It's 3 balls and no strikes to Baumhofer. The dangerous Matt Mira stands on deck. Erdelschweiger a peek to first, 3-0. And Baumhofer watches a fastball that connects on the outer part of the plate. It's 3 balls and a strike.
Well, one thing both teams did last night, they played a lot of small ball early on, a lot of bunts. We saw it here already with Martin. At the very least, they went Baumhofer to get him to second base.
3-1, and he takes the fastball inside ball 4. It's the first walk of the day from Erdelschweiger, and it puts runners at first and second with nobody out for Matt Mira. The league leader in average this summer. And a guy who has been so dangerous against the Big Train. First righty that Erdelschweiger sees. He squares the bunt. Bunts it foul behind the plate. And it's no balls and a strike. A missed opportunity for the Cropdusters.
And the Big Train in the 12 innings last night only walked 3 hitters. And it all came from the bullpen, Austin Morris. So walks early on in the game is something that the Cropdusters have not seen very much in the playoffs in general, if you add the Southern Maryland game in there as well. So they're going to take advantage of every single one that Erdelschweiger issues.
Set 0-1. Mira squares and takes the fastball outside. A ball and a strike. The first baseman, Twigo, crashing on the play. Between the 2 starting pitchers last night, Morose and Cassidy, just 1 walk between them no walks between them. As the 1-1 misses outside, 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, both were fantastic. Morose, he was almost untouchable. 61 pitches at one point in time through 6 innings. That's unheard of in today's game.
Combined, they went 16 innings. 2-1 pitch. Mira squares, pulls back, and watches the fastball find the outside corner. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out, bottom of the first. With the Big Train in front 1-0, but the Cropdusters looking to respond. Erdelschweiger, peek back at second. Martin with the 3-step lead creeps off the base. 2-2. A slider to Mira, and he taps it foul over the seats down the right field line and out of play, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And they saw a heavy dosage of sliders last night from Cassidy. It wasn't as on point, but Cassidy was able to work out of a lot of base runners.
2-2, and Mira hits another fly ball down the right field side and out of play, and the count remains even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
They saw a heavy dosage of it as well from Austin Morris, but then as soon as Max Martzoff takes over, you know it's always that fastball. And they got 3 innings of almost exclusively fastballs from Max, and they couldn't do anything.
First lefty they saw last night. Erdelschweiger a look back at second, 2-2. A slider, and Mira hits it in the air to deep right center field. Long run for the right fielder, Hurd. In the gap, he's able to track it down and make the catch. Tagging from second to third is Martin. The throw goes into second base. It's out number 1 in the bottom of the first, but runners at the corners for the Cropdusters.
Similar to the one he hit in the first inning last night that was out to deep right center field, a long run from Zeb Ruddle then. But Miura, 1 hit so far in the series, but he has made really good contact.
Runners at the corners with 1 out for John Seibert. First pitch to him, and the fastball ranges well outside. A ball and no strikes. Hit the 2-run home run off of Cassidy last night to give the Cropdusters the lead. 1-0. Hits a high chopper down the third baseline and foul. It's a ball and a strike. Erdelschweiger trying to battle through traffic in the bottom of the first. Schiavone, his teammate at James Madison, says composure is one of his strengths, and he's going to need it early in this ball game. 1-1. Fastball just off the outer part of the plate. It's 2 balls and a strike. Pitching in the league semifinal series. A chance to send the Big Train to the championship with a win tonight. 2-1. Slider, and it misses inside. 3 balls and a strike. Seibert in a good hitter's count.
Another thing about Erdelschweiger is he has consistently, despite the walks, been able to get through most times at least 4 innings of work.
3-1, it misses outside. It's off the glove of Schiavone into the backstop, but Martin, unable to read it quickly, remains at third. It is a walk to Seibert, however, and the bases are loaded with only 1 out.
Now, going back to Erdelschweiger and the pitching staff for the Big Train, they've had the luck and the success of being able to push him through 4 or 5 innings to where they don't have to use the bullpen as much. They hope that that can continue today because you don't want to have to go deep in your bullpen in Game 2 if you're behind, if you don't win this game, and then have a short pen for tomorrow's game, which would be Game 3.
As here comes Craig Lopez, the pitching coach, out to talk with his young right-hander as his college teammate gets set to step up to the plate. Jack Cannizzaro, the catcher tonight for the Cropdusters, the backup catcher, the backup to Jason Schiavone at James Madison, and he will face his college teammate with the bases loaded and only 1 out. The 3 of them know each other well. A pair of catchers with Cannizzaro and Schiavone, and Erdelschweiger, the right-hander, on the mound. Schiavone a year older than the other 2, who head into their sophomore season for the Dukes. Cannizzaro made 5 starts this past season for James Madison in 15 total games played. Erdelschweiger from the windup. 1 out, bases loaded. 1-0 Big Train in the first pitch to Cannizzaro, and the fastball misses a little below the knees. It's a ball and no strikes.
That's an area where the Big Train were getting strikes last night, so
1-0. That one further away from the plate. Low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes.
now, of course, Erdelschweiger didn't pitch in that game, but it's something they're used to, at least through the first game, is that area being a called strike.
2-0. It misses again below the knees. 3 balls and no strikes. And Erdelschweiger shrugs his shoulders to ask what he needs to do to find a strike. He needs to find one here. Bases loaded, 1 out. The 3-0. And it's low and outside, ball 4. A run comes in for the Cropdusters. They tie the game in the bottom of the first. It's all even at 1. And Anthony Swenda comes to the plate. The Big Train still looking to get that second out. 3 walks already today for Erdelschweiger. He continues to work from the windup. The righty Swenda at the plate, and a motion towards the Big Train bullpen. And I think that's a warning given to the Big Train dugout. It looks like a warning has been given, to whom we're not sure, but you get 1 warning and the next time you're done for the ball game. As our home plate umpire, Bill Worthington, writes it down in his card, sticks it back in his chest pocket. After the Big Train scored in the top of the first, a rocky bottom half of the inning. Bases loaded and 1 out. Erdelschweiger's first pitch to Swenda. The fastball skips in the dirt. Schiavone able to stab it with his glove and keep it in front. A ball and no strikes. The bases remain loaded, but Erdelschweiger does not have the command so far. Ready to work again on the mound. Wheels and deals a 1-0. Fastball misses down in the dirt. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Schiavone again able to glove it. At third is Baumhofer. At second is Seibert. At first is Cannizzaro. The corner's in for the Big Train. 2-0. And the fastball to Swenda misses low and inside. And Schiavone hesitates, expecting the call. He does not get it. Not a lot of room for error in this strike zone. It's 3 balls and no strikes. Erdelschweiger deals a 3-0. That one right down the middle. Swenda takes all the way. It's 3 balls and a strike. And the Big Train crowd, who have showed up despite the Big Train being officially the road team, like what they saw on that last pitch. 3-1. Swenda watches another fastball find the zone on the lower outside corner. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 away. Bases loaded, 1 down, 3-2. Swenda hits a high fly ball to right. Back goes the right fielder Hurd. He makes the catch on the move. Baumhofer tags from third. He's in to score on his feet. The throw goes to the cutoff man. It's 2-1 Cropdusters in the bottom of the first on the sacrifice fly from Anthony Swenda. Over to third moves Seibert in the bottom of the first.
Well, you never want to give up the go-ahead run, but if you're Ryan Erdelschweiger, who is struggling to find command with the fastball and struggling to record outs, he's going to take that, especially considering it's just the first inning.
So it brings Jimmy Kirk to the plate with 2 down and runners at the corners. And Erdelschweiger works back from the stretch. Runner on the move to second. Schiavone throws down. The throw is high, and in slides Cannizzaro safely with a stolen base. It's 2 in scoring position with 2 outs. And Schiavone talking to Bill Worthington, the home plate umpire.
Yeah, I think he's fighting for his pitcher right here. That one was another really close pitch that was called a ball.
It's a ball and no strikes to Kirk. First base is now open. Erdelschweiger continues to work from the stretch. 1-0. and a perfectly placed fastball in the lower outside corner, a ball and a strike. A contentious bottom of the first. 1-1. Ground ball back up the middle. The shortstop Rasmussen fields as he moves to his left, sets his feet and throws in time for out number 3, and the inning comes to an end. But the Cropdusters score 2 on 3 walks and a hit. They lead 2-1 as we head to the second from Shirley Povich Field in the league semifinal. Top of the second from Shirley Povich Field, the Big Train, the road team at home because First Responder Field unplayable. And so they moved the game last minute here to Povich Field. The Cropdusters remain the home team as Josh Beck returns to the mound and Jason Schiavone comes back to the plate after Hurd thrown out trying to steal second in the top of the first. 2-1 Big Train, top of the second. Schiavone, who had a home run last night, comes to the plate. 6, 7, 8 due up for the Big Train. First pitch from the 6-6 lefty. And Beck misses outside with a fastball, a ball and no strikes.
Schiavone came up to the press box earlier and was kind of joking because we mentioned it was slumping really hard at the plate.
1-0. That misses outside with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes.
Slumping hard at the plate and was able to get out of it with a 2-hit night, including a home run, but we were joking because he's like, whenever I hit a home run, Jeffrey hits a home run.
2-0, and he lines it right back off the screen. It's 2 balls and a strike. Well, Schiavone hit the home run in the 8th. Hurd came up in the 9th and did the exact same, but that one tied the game. 2-1. Fastball misses outside. It's 3 balls and a strike. It was the 3rd home run of the summer for Schiavone, who's in his 2nd summer with the Big Train. 3-1 pitch. And he takes high and away with a fastball. Ball 4 and a leadoff walk to begin the top of the second. And again, the small strike zone making life difficult for the pitchers tonight.
And the hope is the Big Train can stay patient at the plate. They got the walk from Hurd in the first, but both Ruffner and Orr struck out. Ruffner chased a few pitches, and Jacob Orr also fouled off a pitch in an 0-1 count that was out of the zone.
Connor Rasmussen to the plate. The shortstop hits from the left side as he twirls the bat towards the mound. Stares towards the lefty Beck. First pitch. And the fastball misses well outside. A ball and no strikes. Rasmussen 1 for 5 yesterday. But Had a perfect sacrifice bunt to move runners over to second and third in the 12th. He swings at the 1-0, crushes it to deep right center. Back goes the right fielder, Seibert. He leaps, and he makes the catch to bring it in. Schiavone well off the bag, has to retreat to first. The throw to first comes in a little behind him, and robbed is Rasmussen. What a play by Seibert in right field.
Yeah, ranging into the gap, reaching the glove up, extending, and making an unbelievable catch. Rasmussen robbed of extra bases, and the big train could have tied the ball game up because Schiavone, he can run over there at first.
So Ruddle to the plate with one down. In the first pitch, the curveball drops into the strike zone. No balls and a strike. Seibert not the most fleet of foot, but able to track down that baseball just barely. Schiavone leads off of first. 0-1. Ruddle pops it up third base side and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Seibert actually listed and does play catcher at Millersville. But tonight in right field, 0-2 to Ruddle. Curveball drops off the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes. Beck thought he had the strikeout. Instead, he has to work back to the mound against Ruddle. 1-2. Ruddle takes outside with the fastball. Beck not sure. 2 balls and 2 strikes. This pitcher's battling to find what the zone looks like tonight. 2-2. Ruddle swings and misses at a high fastball. He strikes out for out number 2. And after the leadoff walk, quickly 2 retired as Casey Bishop comes to the plate.
He was the hero last night with the infield single to third base. Really struggled at the plate, but with Casey's speed and with Ruffner moving on contact.
As the first pitch into Bishop, and he takes a fastball down the middle for a strike, 0-1.
Ruffner easily able to come in and score a head-first slide.
Bishop the walk-off single in the 12th. 2 outs, top of the second. 2-1 Cropdusters as the 0-1 pitch misses low and inside. A ball and a strike. Schiavone leads off of first. Beck stares over. 1-1 home. Bishop snaps it back to the screen. A ball and 2 strikes. Top of the order waits on deck in Dixon Williams. As the sun dips towards the tree line in right center. The entire field covered in shadows. 1-2. Bishop hits a high pop-up third base line. In comes the third baseman Swende in foul territory. He calls for it. He makes the catch. Inning over. Big Train strand a leadoff walk. On to the bottom of the second. 2-1 Cropdusters. Bottom of the second, 2-1 Cropdusters as the Cropdusters return to hit. Ryan Erdelschweiger back to the mound, and Adam, a guy who gets better as the night goes on, and the big train are going to need innings from him tonight in order to preserve some arms as well as keep them in this game.
Yeah, Ryan had 3 walks in that first inning, and the walks are one thing, but in all 3 instances,
As Robinson takes high on a first pitch fastball, ball and no strikes.
in all 3 instances, and here with the first batter, Erdelschweiger falls behind early. If he can get ahead in the count, he's going to have a lot more success.
1-0, a high fly ball into deep center field. Ruddle, the center fielder, back at the track. He reaches up and he makes the catch for out number 1. Erdelschweiger able to battle through Robinson, 1 away, and up comes Patrick Sanchez. Guy who hits at the bottom of the lineup for the Cropdusters, known for his defense, just 1 RBI on the summer. As the first pitch fastball misses low and outside, a ball and no strikes, came on a solo home run. 1-0. Fastball well upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. Sanchez with that maroon arm sleeve on his right arm. No batting gloves to be found as he grips the wooden bat with his bare hands. 2-0. And the fastball misses down and away. 3 balls and no strikes. Erdelschweiger looking for the strike zone. 3-0. And the fastball nowhere close. Well upstairs, it's ball 4. And a 1-out walk to Sanchez. The 4th walk issued today by Erdelschweiger. Back to the top of the order, and Jason Schiavone, the catcher, heads out to chat with his right-hander. For Erdelschweiger, 4 walks matches the most in an outing this summer. Came against the Giants 12 days ago. Still make that back in June down in Southern Maryland. Still went 4 innings of just 2-run baseball that night. Braden Martin to the plate with a runner at first and 1 down. Lefty takes, and it's a fastball upstairs, a ball and no strikes.
And in that game against the Senators, that was over at Regency Furniture Stadium, the Senators got up to a real early lead, but thanks to some help from Lucas Phelps.
1-0 to Martin, and it's outside and away with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes.
I think to some help from Lucas Phelps, who had a couple of RBI doubles. The Big Train were able to score 5 runs by the 5th inning, and final score ended up being 5-3 in that game.
And Erdelschweiger kept them competitive early. 1-2 or 2-1. 2-0 is a called strike on the fastball. 2 balls and a strike. Early update from Silver Spring. The Aces 2 and the T-Bolts 1 in the top of the 4th. 2-1 pitch, a pop-up left side with the runner Sanchez on the move. It's out of play down the third base line. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes as Sanchez returns to first. Well, the Aces 1 game away from clinching a spot in the championship series. So are the Big Train. Here's the 2-2 from Erdelschweiger. High chopper up the middle. The second baseman Bishop fields next to the bag. He steps on second. Throw to first is not in time, but he's able to get the 1 out. And it is 2 down in the bottom of the second for Will Baumhofer. For you, and 4 unassisted on the play to get Sanchez. Baumhofer returns to the plate after a walk back in the first. A lefty stares towards the mound. First pitch home, runner on the move. Baumhofer pops it up on the infield. The second baseman Bishop calls for it behind second base, makes the catch, inning over. 1 walk, 1 left for the Cropdusters. On to inning number 3, 2-1, they lead. Top of the third, 2-1 Cropdusters, the big train back to bat. Dixon Williams leads things off, and Josh Beck returns to the mound. Williams had a single to begin the ball game. Back up the middle. First pitch to him, and the slider misses well outside. A ball and no strikes. Last night, 0 for 10 between Williams and Twygo at the top of the order. Tonight, they have the only 2 hits through 2 innings for Bethesda. Here's the 1-0. Williams takes a fastball low and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Twygo stands on deck. He had the RBI double back in the first. Beck's 2-0. And the curveball loops its way well outside. 3 balls and no strikes. And Williams, a difficult guy to pitch to when he's ahead in the count. Ahead 3 balls and no strikes. Here it comes. And he takes well inside, ball 4. And the big train have a leadoff runner for the 3rd straight inning aboard.
Down the first baseman, number 23 from the University of Oregon, Dean Twygo.
And so Twygo back to the plate as the sun peeks over the trees in right center field, almost set on a beautiful evening. First pitch to Twygo in the dirt, skips between the legs of Canizaro, the catcher. Williams moves over to second on the wild pitch, takes a big turn, but into scoring position he goes. A ball and no strikes to the dangerous Twygo. The lefty with an open stance. It's the bat out in front of his chest. 1-0. Takes a fastball high and away. 2 balls and no strikes. 6 straight balls from Beck to begin the top of the 3rd. Look back at second. 2-0 home. And Twygo watches a fastball catch the outer part of the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Big train looking to tie the game in the top of the 3rd. Williams dances off the bag at second. 2-1, and the fastball misses outside. 3 balls and a strike. It almost looks like Williams is getting in the head of Beck, the pitcher, who keeps peeking back even as he's about to deal home. 3-1, and the fastball misses outside. Ball 4, back-to-back walks in the top of the 3rd, and there's 2 on and nobody out for Teddy Ruffner.
And that's now the big train who are taking advantage of the mistakes made by a starting pitcher. And has a similar vibe to that bottom half of the first inning when Erdelsweiger walked 3. Now it's just up to the big train to try to cash in.
Well, here comes a mound visit for the Cropdusters. The infield collapses on the mound. Ruffner at the plate. Chance to do some real damage. Ruffner this summer just below 300 with runners in scoring position and has 13 RBIs. All 13 RBIs come with runners in scoring position this summer for Ruffner. 2 on, nobody out. Top of the 3rd, the big train. A chance to tie the game, trailing 2-1. Ruffner squares to bunt, puts it down the 3rd baseline. The pitcher Beck off the field, his throw to 3rd. It's not in time. Williams slides in before the throw arrives, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. Beck thought he had an easy play at 3rd as he picked up the ball along the 3rd base line, but lobbed it over that way. And Williams with fantastic speed able to reach, and the bases are loaded with nobody out for the man of last night, Jeffrey Hurd.
Yeah, an interesting choice to go to 3rd. I understand the ball is in that direction, but you got to be more aware of who's on the bases.
As Hurd takes a first pitch fastball off the outside corner, a ball and no strikes. Williams, one of the fastest big train. He hits at the top of the order for a reason. Williams at 3rd, Twygo at 2nd, Ruffner at 1st. The corners play in for the Cropdusters. 1-0 to Hurd. And a swing and a miss at a high slider. It's a ball and a strike. Hurd tried to replicate his swing from last night. This time he comes up empty. The powerful lefty always looking to attack. 1-1. A curveball drops onto the outside corner. It's called a strike. 1-2 the count. That's the same pitch that Hurd hit a home run against Beck last time they faced here at Shirley Povich Field. This time, better location from the left-hander on the mound. A ball and 2 strikes. Here it comes to Hurd. He lines the curveball down the left field line, but foul off the netting that protects the Big Train bullpen. The count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Tying run at third for the Big Train in the top of the third. The base is loaded and nobody out. 1-2. Hurd swings and misses at a high fastball. A strikeout for Beck. His 4th of the game, and there's 1 away.
Well, if you're going to attack Jeffrey Hurd, that's how you have to do it. Work the pitches away and go with high fastballs. Anything that's over the plate or in, Jeffrey Hurd has the chance to pull. So credit to Beck on the mound.
Bases remain loaded with 1 out for Orr. First pitch, he takes high and away with a fastball. A ball and no strikes to the righty, and that hat keeps falling off the head of Beck. Might need a new one.
You got to get it resized or something like that.
But I guess that's probably for a later time. 1-0. Orr takes outside with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. Chance for the Big Train to regain the lead. Pins that glove against his right shoulder as he comes set at the belt. 2-0. Or swing and a miss at the fastball. It's 2 balls and a strike. Again, the hat tumbles off the head of Beck. Putting so much effort into it that the hat just cannot stay on. Lefty a look at third. Williams creeps down the line. 2-1 pitch to Orr. He takes the fastball well outside. Canizaro, the catcher, has to stretch all the way across to keep it from going to the backstop, but it's 3 balls and a strike with 1 out. The Big Train walked in a run in the bottom of the first. Will Beck do the same in the top of the third? 3-1. Swing and a foul tip from Jacob Orr on a changeup on the outside corner. The count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
You're seeing it more and more. When the Big Train get into 3-1 counts, they don't have the take sign. They are allowed to be aggressive in that count, and we've seen it so many times. The Big Train just come up with nothing on 3-1.
3-2, and Orr lines it right back off the screen, stays alive, and the count remains full. The corners remain in for the Cropdusters. The middle infielders play at double play depth. Beck, a deep breath on the mound. Another 3-2. Orr hits a shallow fly ball into center. Mira camps under it. The center fielder makes the catch. Williams tags. The throw goes to third. In comes Williams. We're tied again. A sacrifice fly from Jacob Orr, and it's 2-2 in the top of the third.
And if you're Orr, that's what you got to do. You don't have to worry about clearing the bases or pulling a Jeffrey Hurd, for that matter, from last night. Just try to get that tying run in. You still have plenty of time, and there's so many good hitters behind you who could still pick up the other 2 guys out there.
So it brings Jason Schiavone to the plate. Trying to come through with a runner in scoring position. First and second, 2 down in a 2-2 game. Beck set at the belt. Pitch home. Schiavone loops it back and out of play behind the plate. No balls and a strike. Big Train trying to take the series tonight. Avoid a game 3. An all-deciding win or go home. As they play as the road team at Shirley Povich Field. 0-1. Schiavone takes a fastball up high, evens the count, a ball and a strike. A walk in the second from Schiavone, but did not move past first base. At second is Twigo, at first is Ruffner. 1-1. Schiavone hits a fly ball in the air to center. Mira, the center fielder, drifts back in front of the track. He stops, camps under it, makes the catch. Inning over. But the Big Train score 1 on the sacrifice fly from Jacob Orr. We're tied at 2 as we head to the bottom of the third from Shirley Povich Field. We welcome you back, bottom of the third, and we're joined alongside by Big Train assistant GM Patrick Chapman, Eli Kleinman, Adam Glover. Bottom of the third, and up to the plate comes Matt Mira to face Ryan Erdelschweiger as the righty on the mound deals a first pitch. Called a strike, 0-1.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Of course.
Playoff baseball.
Yeah, I know, right?
Seeing your fair share of Big Train playoff baseball.
Yeah, I have, and oh my, last night was one for the ages. That was an incredible baseball.
I was about to
game.
ask, 8 years with the Big Train for Patrick Chapman. Where does that game rank all time?
That one is, believe it or not, that one's probably number 2. Is that a ball? Yeah. Man, down in the zone, this guy has been all over the place. Apologies about that. But, yeah, I mean, that was probably number 2 for the ages. That was an incredible game, though. I mean, the comeback with 2 outs in the 9th inning, Orr makes his way over to second. Granted, it was on the air, but also you can't throw like a mid-inside fastball to arguably the most clutch hitter in the league. I mean, that's a big mistake.
That's a mistake.
So that was just incredible, though. I mean, the crowd last night was just electric, too.
3-2, a little looper to the right side. Bishop fields with the bare hand and throws to first in time. Casey Bishop flashes a little bit of skin, not some leather, for out number 1.
Yeah, how about that one?
Sometimes it's easier just to go with the bare hand.
Yeah, cricket style.
You've played some cricket on this field this
We
summer.
have. Yeah, the last few games, we have one of our host dads who actually played cricket when he was back in high school.
As up to the plate comes John Seibert, and he takes a strike, 0-1.
And during some of the last few games, he's just brought one of those practice cricket bats and like a tape ball, and we've just been having fun on the field. It's been a great time, but
quite a different sport than baseball.
It is, yeah. But yeah, I mean, just speaking of Casey Bishop, I mean, how great has he been since he's come back? I mean, wow, he's been just impressive. And last night with the walk-off, I mean, how clutch was that too?
Big Train needed that.
And to add to that, I don't know if you remember, but the top half of that inning, he had like a sliding, diving play at second base
That's
for
right.
the out number 2. So
That's right.
showing off the leather as well.
Yeah, such a great two-way player for him.
2-1, and it's fouled back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And you can speak about the brilliance of the middle infield for the big train. Rasmussen at short has become a staple there. Bishop at second, equally great at defense.
Yeah, and how about Connor? Oh my God, just defensively, he has been perfect, especially in the month of July. There we go.
2, a swing and a miss. Seibert strikes out, and there's 2 away in the bottom of the third. I mean, this is the shortstop defensive matchup of the ages. A lot of credit to Patrick Sanchez as well for the Cropdusters. These two, when they play, seem to keep trying to one-up each other with fantastic plays.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, even last night, Sanchez was impressive. I mean, not a whole lot of flashy stuff, but you don't need that all the time in baseball. Oftentimes, you just need a guy to be consistent, not commit any errors.
As Canizero watches a strike, 0-1. Erdoschweiger has settled in, just like you mentioned, Adam, early in the ball game. 0-1, and a grounder right back up the middle into center field for a 2-out hit. And at first is Canizaro for Anthony Swenda.
Next, the third baseman, number 44 from UNBC.
Sun is set here at Shirley Povich Field. Cools things off a little bit.
Now, you said last night's game was the second best game. What is number 1 for you, Patrick?
I was just about to bring that back. So number 1 for me is actually Game 3 of the League Championship Series. Good strike there by Ryan. Game 3 of the League Championship Series from 2019, that comeback win. That was easily the best game I think I've ever seen in this park. This was very close second. I mean, if I had to, it would probably be on a coin flip between which was a greater game. I mean, I think the issue, not the right word, the difference between the two games.
0-2 misses outside with a slider.
Just missed there. The difference between those two games is last night the big train didn't really show up until that Jason Schiavone home run, and we're still going really quickly through at-bats. I mean, like 1-2 pitches. And, you know, then they ended up getting that 2-run homer. I mean, that was awesome, but they kind of didn't show up until the end of the game last night. That other game, they were still there. They had to come from behind, but they were still there. And Matt Thomas hit his first career collegiate home run.
As Swenda pops it foul behind the plate, and we do another 2-2.
Matt Thomas hit his first career collegiate home run over the scoreboard, a 3-run homer, and took the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. That was just so clutch. That was so impressive.
Big Train were down 4-0 with 6 outs to go in Game 3, the deciding game of that championship series. They scored 6 runs and got the final 3 outs. It's the 2-2 to Swenda upstairs, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
How about last night as well? All the runs were from, except the Cropdusters third run, I guess.
Yeah, each team had 1 run, but every other one via the home run.
Right, yeah.
3-2, and he pops it foul again. And it's been a summer, and you can speak to this better than anyone, where the home runs have been down slightly compared to past years.
They have, but this ballpark is probably bigger than it appears. You know, I mean, dead center is maybe 370 if I'm not mistaken, but to get it over the wall, you got to hit it probably 400.
3-2 into right center. Ruddle tracks it down to make the catch and end the inning. Cropdusters strand a runner at first after the 2-out single, and Patrick Chapman will stay around for another half inning, and we'll be right back on the Big Train Baseball Network.
The juices in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner.
We welcome you back into the booth. Patrick Chapman, Adam Glover. I'm Eli Kleinman. Top of the fourth. 2-2 our score, and Connor Rasmussen leads things off against Josh Beck. Big Train 1 game away from returning to the League Championship Series like they have done every year since 2009. First pitch to Rasmussen, and he takes a fastball called a strike, 0-1. Patrick, it's about as dominant of a run as you can find across summer collegiate baseball in Bethesda. Rasmussen fouls it away.
Yeah, it is, and it's been so fun to just watch it every year since I've been here since 2016. You know, I was here 5 years as a volunteer, then became AGM back in 2021. It's just been so fun to watch. You know, last year was so unusual losing the championship series, but still another incredible season. I mean, when you only have 10 losses and like a 36 game season, that's still an incredible run. And even this year, the 13 losses. And it's strange because I actually think this team is better than what their record shows. Our guys have just run into a slump, and sometimes when that happens, you just have a bunch of losses in a row. It happens. It's baseball, it's sports, it's life, you know? But, I mean, they've done a great job these last few games, heating back up.
1-2 to Rasmussen outside with the curveball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It does feel like they're starting to heat up at the right time for the Big Train. 2-2. Rasmussen hits a little looper down the left field line, but it's foul into the bullpen. Even though the offense came alive late last night, things starting to feel like it's clicking again for the Big Train.
Yeah, it definitely is. And tonight even, I mean, that last inning with the bases loaded, no outs? I mean, that's awesome to see, you know. That even when they run into a little slump in the innings, I mean, they still are trying to find a way. They are fighting. I really love to see that from this team.
2-2. Rasmussen taps the curveball back to the screen. Well, we talked to Max Martzoff after the game last night, and he mentioned, I mean, he was as fired up as anybody as he came off the mound in each of his 3 innings. And he mentioned that the energy felt different last night. The stakes felt higher, and the Big Train responded accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what a performance from him last night. Well done, Connor. Keep fighting here. 2-2.
Stays alive, fouls one back.
Yeah, Max Martzoff, what a great season he's had. And last night, he really came in and just shut the Cropdusters down. Those last few innings, 8 inning on, they just had nothing going. It was fantastic to see.
Here's another 2-2. Rasmussen again fouls it back. And Martzoff, part of the long line of Florida Atlantic Owls that have made their way to Bethesda. No school represented more among Big Train players than FAU.
Yeah, and Nolan Shaniel, who just got drafted, 11th
11th overall, the first round.
Rasmussen hits a little looper into shallow left field, but it's Patrick Sanchez, the shortstop, who makes the catch.
Still a fantastic at-bat there by Connor. I mean, you got to try to make this pitcher eat a little bit.
Had a great at-bat in his first time to the plate, hit a deep fly ball to right center, but Seibert, the right fielder, able to track it down. As Zeb Ruddle comes to the plate with 1 out. Back of the bullpen has been quite solid for the Big Train, especially since they slotted Martzoff into that closer role. And Austin Morris has really become the setup guy and honestly the get-out-of-trouble guy for the Big Train.
And it's funny because when we originally interviewed Max in Silver Spring, he said there wasn't really a designed closer. It was just whoever was ready. But, I mean, we've watched these last 2.5 weeks, and he's always the emergency guy. So we kind of just give Max the closer role.
Yeah, and he's earned it.
Ruddle takes a fastball upstairs, a ball and 2 strikes.
Just a fantastic season from him. It's been so fun to watch him. I remember, it always takes me a while to learn these guys' names, but I mean, back in late June, I was like, who is this guy? And then I looked at his stats. I was like, oh, wait a second. He's actually really good.
1-2, a little chopper right side. The second baseman, Martin, eats it up and flips to first for out number 2. And he has been fantastic. A sneaky start to the summer. A late emergence as a star. As we give you an update from Silver Spring, 2-2. The Aces and T-Bolts. The T-Bolts tied up in the bottom of the 4th. We're in the bottom of the 5th with 1 out in Silver Spring. We're in the top of the 4th here in Bethesda. Also tied at 2. It's Bishop to the plate, and he lines it right back to the screen. No balls and a strike.
I don't know what to make of them, Silver Spring. Sometimes, I mean, they've played us really hard this year. I know we only lost 1 game against them, but the walk-off game we had in 11 innings was against Silver Spring. We had to come back in game 1 of the doubleheader.
As Bishop swings and misses at a curveball outside, 0-2.
They're kind of, we thought they snuck in because they didn't have, they just woke up one morning and realized they had the tiebreaker. They were in, but they could make some noise against the Aces, especially if they can win today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to give them a lot of credit. They did not have a good start to the season.
Well, Bishop strikes out on a foul tip into the glove. The T-Bolts, a streaky team looking to win tonight. The Cropdusters and Big Train battle in Game 2 in Bethesda. It's 2-2 as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Thanks, Patrick, for joining us in the booth tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
We'll be right back on the Big Train Baseball Network. The pitching settling in. It's 2-2 as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Jimmy Kirk to the plate, and Ryan Erdelschweiger back on the mound for the Big Train. Righty on righty battle. Kirk a ground out to shortstop. Back in the 1st. As he resets his helmet on top of his head and stands in. The first pitch fastball outside, a ball and no strikes. These two teams keeping it close as they have done for most of the summer. 1-0. Kirk, line drive, up the middle, past Erdelschweiger on the mound and into center field for a leadoff single. Cropdusters and Big Train separated by just a game in the standings, and each of the last 3 games here at Shirley Povich Field have come down to the late innings to decide it.
And the Big Train were on the wrong side of the first 2. A couple of blown leads late, but the middle one, though, was a game where the Big Train just constantly were behind.
Had to battle their way back. It's Tay Robinson to the plate. He swings and hits it over the head of the third baseman Williams and into left field for a base hit. Back-to-back singles for the Cropdusters. Puts runners at first and second with nobody out in the bottom of the 4th for Patrick Sanchez. And a great opportunity for the team from Olney to take the lead back.
Yeah, both of those and the single by Canizaro in the third, all of them fastballs. Erdelschweiger just not commanding that pitch very well at the moment.
And here comes Sal Colangelo to the mound, and Adam, I think this might be it for the right-hander as he stares down towards his bullpen. Perhaps not, but it seems that his night is done potentially. And let's see. If you're Colangelo, do you make the move?
I think you do. These last 3 or 4 hitters have made really good contact off of Erdelschweiger. It is early on in the game, but they've gotten a lot out of him. He's had to work a ton pitch count-wise. So if not, the 4th is likely the end of the line for Erdelschweiger.
And it looks like it will be the end of his night. Colangelo knows the importance of this ball game, and he calls to the bullpen. Erdelschweiger heads out, passes the ball off. It's the right-hander, Darren Kuski, who comes in relief. We'll take a break and be right back on the Big Train Baseball Network. We welcome you back, Darren Kuski, the new pitcher on the mound. And Adam, 5 1/3 innings against the Aces 6 days ago. Gave up 4 earned runs, but really that performance does not tell the full tale.
No, he pitched really well against the toughest team in the league record-wise, and Darren has earned it lately. I mean, he's pitched extremely well. He was not originally supposed to start that game. It was supposed to go to Brandon Clark, who was a late scratch. So you get a freshman from USC Upstate coming in who doesn't have a lot of innings under his belt, and he has done excellent. Also pitched against the Braves and the Giants and did well in both of those relief outings.
The right-hander works to the mound, and Patrick Sanchez welcomes him. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Sanchez squares, bunts it right back towards the mound. The third baseman, Dixon Williams, scoops it up, and there's nobody covering first base. It allows Sanchez to reach, and the bases are loaded for the Cropdusters in the bottom of the 4th. A chance to take the lead with nobody out in a 2-2 game.
That's just that's interesting because usually with a ball that's bunted that far away, Dixon Williams, or third basemen in general, usually aren't going to maybe try to make that play, but it's just a mental error from the entire infield because, again, nobody covered first.
As Martin steps to the plate in the first pitch, fastball catches the outside corner, no balls and a strike. Infield come in for the Big Train, trying to prevent the run, prevent the Cropdusters from taking the lead. 0-1 fastball misses outside, a ball and a strike.
And the shortstop, Rasmussen, immediately, as soon as bunt was showed, was running towards third, and Casey Bishop covered second, which usually when a first baseman breaks, the second baseman covers first.
1-1, down the line, Williams dives, the third baseman makes the play, throw to the plate is in time. What a play from Dixon Williams, he prevents a run, there's one away.
Well, Dixon, we rave about the speed, we rave about the bat. Yeah, he's got the glove too. He's been DHing a lot in the second half, but gets the start over there tonight and recently has been playing more in the field, and that's just another great play to add to his highlight reel this summer.
Keeps the game tied at 2. Baumhofer to the plate, and he takes the first pitch fastball outside. A ball and no strikes. Cropdusters trying to avoid elimination tonight. They need a win in order to force a Game 3 tomorrow. 1-0. Outside again with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. Big Train have never lost a Cal Ripken League semifinal game. Perfect 15-0. Trying to improve to 16-0 tonight. 2-0. Baumhofer takes a strike. 2 balls and a strike the count. With 1 down, the infield shifts back. The middle infielders play at double play depth. The corners play just on the lip of the grass. 2-1 pitch. Baumhofer pops it up. Third base side. Williams, the third baseman, ranges over, but watches it land in the seats foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes as Kuski battles his way back. Already one fantastic defensive play this inning. The dive from Williams preventing a run. Bases still loaded for the Cropdusters with 1 out. 2-2. Well upstairs with the fastball, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And what could be the turning point in this game for the Cropdusters if they can have a big inning here?
3-2. Baumhofer lines it into center, over the glove of the shortstop Rasmussen, and into center field. The throw goes to third from Ruddle. It's not in time. It's an RBI single for Will Baumhofer, and the Cropdusters are back in front. It's 3-2 in the bottom of the 4th. Almost an incredible play from the shortstop Rasmussen, but just can't climb the ladder high enough. And the base is still loaded with 1 out as Twigo, the first baseman, heads to the mound to talk to the right-handed pitcher Kuski. They rule it a single for Patrick Sanchez on the bunt when the defense did not shift right in their bunt coverage. Nobody covered first as the dangerous Matt Mirror to the plate. Kuski settles back in on the mound. First pitch to Mira, grounds it right side. The second baseman Bishop fields to the shortstop Rasmussen for 1. Back to first, double play, and the inning comes to an end. With the bases loaded and nobody out, the Cropdusters just get 1. And the double play gets the Big Train out of the inning against the league's best hitter by average. On to the 5th inning we go. The Cropdusters back in front, 3-2.
Wait for me. Keep watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. 2 kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up.
Top of the 5th, 3-2, the lead for the Cropdusters, and the new pitcher is Brandon Rhodes. Brilliant this summer, 7 games, no runs allowed in 9 1/3 innings worked. Not a strikeout guy, just 3 strikeouts over those 9 innings, and does have 9 walks, but only 3 hits allowed at him, and he is going to look to pitch to contact against this dangerous Big Train lineup.
Yeah, the tricky thing is this is a part of the lineup for the Big Train that loves to make contact. So you got to make sure you locate your pitch as well against Williams and Twygo, especially Ruffner coming up as well, but especially to Dixon Williams and Dean Twygo, who both have a walk each and a base hit each, combined 2 for 2 with 2 walks.
They've created the 2 runs tonight with their pair of hits in the first and their pair of walks in the third. And Williams leads off an inning for the 3rd time tonight in the 5th. 3-2 Cropdusters. First pitch from Rhodes, and the fastball misses outside. A ball and no strikes. The sun is set in Bethesda. Blue skies begin to turn towards dark purple. 1-0. Williams crushes one down the right field line. Long run for Cyber. Looks up, and Williams says goodbye. And the Big Train have tied it up once again. 3-3 in the top of the 5th. The first home run of the summer for Dixon Williams. The first run of the summer allowed by Brandon Rhodes. And the Big Train instantly respond. 3-3 our score. And our home plate umpire, Bill Worthington, looks to be giving another warning.
I don't know, because I didn't see anything, but unfortunately that's something we'll have to ask after the game.
Keeps talking to the Big Train dugout, but no issue appears to be at hand, so we'll keep going. 3-3 as Dean Twygo steps to the plate. And how about the difference between last night and this night for the top 2 in the lineup?
Yeah, it's great seeing Williams and Twygo produce, especially considering that neither one of them made great contact last night.
As Twygo takes a fastball outside, a ball and no strikes.
But for Dean, getting the RBI double back in the first, hit it a long way, and now Williams turning on this one.
1-0, and the fastball upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes. Each has taken home a Cal Ripken League Player of the Week award this summer. Twygo, the reigning Cal Ripken League Player of the Week. 2-0. And he hits a high fly ball in the air to left field. Baumhofer, the left fielder, starts back, then ranges in to make the catch for out number 1. And for the first time tonight, Twygo retired. And it brings up Teddy Ruffner. The right-handed bat at the plate with 1 out, and he swings the first pitch, hits a dribbler down the first base line, but foul. First baseman Kirk fields just beyond the base. No balls and a strike.
And what has been a very exciting Cal Ripken League playoff so far. Had the close game between the Braves and the T-Bolts, of course, had our close game yesterday, and now both this game and the Aces T-Bolts game close today.
0-1, and Ruffner fouls it right back to the screen, 0-2. And you had to expect something like this between these two teams, just so deadlocked all regular season, and, well, they have been as close to identical in this postseason as you could possibly get so far. 0-2 pitch. Ruffner hits a high pop-up first base side. The first baseman, Kirk, ranges into foul territory, and past the dirt of the infield, he makes the catch for out number 2. So it brings up Jeffrey Hurd with 2 down.
Number 35 from Sacramento State, Jeffrey Hurd.
Had the home run last night. You can check out that fantastic call on YouTube on the Big Train Baseball Network. Adam Glover made the call. The swing of the season. First pitch to Hurd, and he takes a fastball on the outside corner, no balls and a strike.
I had to power my phone off last night because I was tagged in the video every time it was posted, and then I was also a collaborator on the video on Instagram, so the notifications got a little out of control.
0-1 outside, a ball and a strike. That's called celebrity status, my friend. Hurd waits. 1-1. And he hits a high pop-up left side. Third baseman Swenda ranges into foul territory, but watches it land in the seats. Ball and 2 strikes. You can check out that call on YouTube in 2 different fashions, as it was called last night, or we'll call it the Moneyball edition.
Hurd or Hatterberg, I think is what Harrison Myers named the video. It's a little short on YouTube, putting the Moneyball music from Hatterberg's walk-off home run for the Oakland A's 20th consecutive victory over Hurd's home run last night.
2 outs, tie game, 3-3, top of the 5th. 1-2 to Hurd, and he takes outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes, another fastball that just misses the zone. Two, up and away, 3 balls and 2 strikes, another fastball just out of the zone, and Hurd works the count full. And let's see if Rhodes gives him a pitch to hit. Infield shifted to the right side, 3-2, a swing and a miss from Hurd. The breaking ball in the dirt gets the second strikeout of Hurd tonight, and the inning comes to an end. But the Big Train tie the game on a solo shot by Dixon Williams. Halfway home, it's 3-3 as we watch the home run once again from Jeffrey Hurd last night.
We'll see if Hurd swings 2-0 here. He's been so good in this count. He does, and it's belted! Right field! Jeffrey Hurd, are you kidding me? It's tied! Unbelievable! Jeffrey Hurd flips the bat! It's 3-3 in the ninth! You gotta be kidding me! The swing of the year! 399, over 100 miles an hour. Jeffrey Hurd, are you kidding me? And he steps on home plate just in case.
We're halfway home in the bottom of the 5th of Game 2 of this semifinal series. The Big Train 1 game away from heading to the finals, and it's 3-3 as Darren Kuski returns to the mound and John Seibert steps to the plate. A walk and a strikeout so far on his day, and time is called as Kuski started his windup. And it looked like Seibert was ready, and so was Kuski, but not Bill Worthington, our home plate umpire, so we reset on the mound. And Kuski again steps out. Things have not run smoothly so
No, they
far
have
tonight.
not.
First pitch home now, and it's the slider missing outside, a ball and no strikes. Kuski came in relief of Erdelschwager in the bottom of the 4th and limited the damage. 1-0. Fastball misses down below the knees. 2 balls and no strikes. Seibert with the home run last night to give the Cropdusters the lead. 2-0. Fastball again. Again downstairs. It's 3 balls and no strikes. On deck is Jack Cannizzaro. 3-0. Hits a chopper down the third baseline and foul. Had the green light on 3 balls and no strikes. Now it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Skusky flips the ball from his glove to his bare hand. Wheels and deals a 3-1. And it is in the dirt. Ball 4. A leadoff walk to Seibert. Jack Cannizzaro to the plate. It's reached both times. An RBI walk in the first, a single in the third. Both against Ryan Erdelschweiger. Kusky bends at the waist as he leans in for the sign. Set at the belt. First pitch home. Cannizzaro squares to bunt and goes around as the first pitch misses in the dirt, but a called strike, 0-1. Or a swinging strike, 0-1. Cropdusters just in their 3rd ever postseason game. Their 2nd season in the league. 0-1. Cannizzaro squares, and that misses outside as he pulls back in time. Ball and a strike. All tied at 3 in the bottom of the 5th with the runner at first and nobody out. Kusky set at the belt, 1-1. Cannizzaro bunts it down the first baseline. Kusky, the pitcher, off the mound to field, flips to first. It's high, but Twygo stretches and just able to make the catch while keeping his foot on the bag. It's out number 1 as over to second moves Seibert.
The advantage of having one of the tallest players on your team playing first base was just shown right there. Twygo barely able to stay on the bag, but an outfielder playing first base consistently now this season for the Big Train, showing off his big stature over there.
Swanda at the plate with 1 down, and the curveball stays upstairs. A ball and no strikes. Twygo has said he did not play any first base in college this past year. Hasn't played first base since high school, but being relied upon this summer. 1-0. Swanda hits a chopper down the third baseline and foul. Ball and a strike. Big Train have had a rotating cast of first basemen. Williams has played a little first base. Carter Cunningham, who's here for about a month. Eddie Hakopian played a little first base. Jason Schiavone has seen some time. 1-1 home. And the slider misses in the dirt outside. Nice pick behind the plate by Schiavone. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, there have been a few positions that have been pretty much locked down from the start, but first base is not one of them.
2-1. Swenda watches a fastball up and inside. It misses. 3 balls and a strike. First base is open, but the dangerous Jimmy Kirk on deck. Kusky set. 3-1 home. Swenda hits a little looper down the right field line. Back goes the first baseman, Twygo. It lands in between everybody. Over to third goes Seibert. It's a single for Swenda, and there are runners at the corners with 1 out. Nobody able to track it down. The right fielder Hurd, the second baseman Bishop, and the first baseman Twygo all closed in, but it landed right in the middle of the campfire.
Yeah, Bermuda Triangle down that right field line. Not often you see it. It does happen more times than not, but usually you see something like that from center field, shortstop, left field, or replace the shortstop with the second baseman. But this one's just in no man's land. Pretty far down that right field line. Jeffrey Hurd playing more towards right center would have been an option. Same with Casey Bishop, but he was playing more towards the second base bag. Just unfortunate for the Big Train.
Well, a chance for the Cropdusters to take the lead back. Runners at the corners and one down, and Kirk swings, and it's a towering fly ball down the left field line. The left fielder Orr over to make the catch. Tagging from third is Cyber. The throw from Orr goes to second. It's a sacrifice fly for Jimmy Kirk, and the Cropdusters are back in front. It's 4-3 in the bottom of the fifth.
Batting next, the designated hitter, number 5 from Towson University, Tay Robinson.
So with two down, Tay Robinson to the plate. And after the big train tie it in the top of the fifth, the Cropdusters respond with one in the bottom half of the fifth. And Kusky looking to limit the damage once again. First earned run he allows. Runner on the move, a fantastic jump. And over to second goes Swenda. Kusky never threw the pitch before Swenda was off and moving. And he's in safely at second. A ball and no strikes. Schiavone never even threw down. So runner in scoring position for Robinson. 1-0. He takes outside with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. Tricky spot. Kusky has to work out of it. 2-0. Soft ground ball hit left side. The third baseman, Williams, has it pop off the heel of his glove. He has no play. He flips to third base. Back safely goes Swenda after he moves up from second. Hits an error on Williams, and there's runners at the corners with 2 down for Patrick Sanchez.
And this is where if you're the big train, you got to try to relax here because it's just unfortunate thing after unfortunate thing. The bloop single down the line. Then you had now the error over there at third. Just got to kind of relax and try to limit the damage here.
It's the first pitch to Sanchez. Misses low and outside with a fastball. A ball and no strikes. At first is Robinson. At third is Swenda. Kusky in trouble. 1-0. Sanchez takes low with the fastball. 2 balls and no strikes.
And if Sanchez is to reach here, wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see a mound visit. I don't know if it's going to be from Coach Lopez or Schiavone.
2-0 and a big swing and a miss from Sanchez. 2 balls and a strike. Braden Martin, the leadoff man, on deck. Things can get a whole lot more dangerous for the big train. Sanchez is able to reach. With 2 outs and runners at the corners. 2-1. Sanchez fouls one on a line drive over the big train dugout down the third base side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The lights shine bright at Shirley Povich Field for this Cal Ripken League semifinal game. Game 2 of a potential 3-game series. Cropdusters playing for their playoff lives. 2-2, runner on the move. Curveball, swing and a miss. Down goes Sanchez, and the inning comes to an end. The Cropdusters do take the lead on 1 hit and a walk, but we head to the 6th inning. It's 4-3, Cropdusters in front.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up.
Top of the 6 from Shirley Povich Field. 4-3 Cropdusters as Jacob Orr leads things off. A sacrifice fly in his last time up. First pitch from Brandon Rhodes is a fastball high and away, a ball and no strikes.
I'd like to see the Big Train continue to get base runners here. They've been excellent through the first 5 innings with those 3 runs scored, but they're continuing to fall behind.
1-0, and the breaking ball misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes. The Big Train led in the top of the first, gave up the lead in the bottom half of the inning, and have yet to retake it. Down 4-3 in the top of the 6. 2-0. Fastball well upstairs. 3 balls and no strikes. Or a strikeout back in the first. Looking to reach for the first time today. 3-0 on the way. And it is a called strike on the outside corner with the fastball. 3 balls and a strike. And that zone a little bit larger above the belt than it is near the knees at the corners. 3-1 home. That fastball well outside, and that's ball 4. Or reaches on a leadoff walk. And it is the 5th inning. The Big Train have had a runner aboard to begin an inning. And here comes a mound visit to talk to Brandon Rhodes. Last inning, he allowed the leadoff home run to Dixon Williams. And the right-hander, showing weakness for the first time this summer, did not allow a run, and his night is over. A call to the bullpen takes us to a break. New pitcher for the Cropdusters coming in. They're fighting for their playoff lives. 4-3, they're on top in the top of the 6. We welcome you back to Shirley Povich Field, top of the 6th. The Big Train, the road team, tonight in Game 2 of a potential 3-game series. But a win for the Big Train sends them back to the championship series for the 14th consecutive season. 4-3 Cropdusters, top of the 6th. To the mound comes Reese Ritchie with his 13.50 ERA. A runner at first and nobody out. Schiavone at the plate. First pitch to him and a big swing and a miss at the hard fastball. No balls and a strike. Third pitcher today for the Cropdusters, trying to win and keep their season alive. 0-1, and the fastball misses downstairs. A ball and a strike. The ERA much inflated because of his last outing. Allowed 6 earned runs against the Grays in D.C. in 1 1/3 innings. 1-1. Fastball misses upstairs, 2 balls and a strike. That's a game where the Grays scored 12 runs in the second and would win comfortably 14-7. Before that, Ritchie with a 5.79 ERA. 2-1 home, and Schiavone takes a fastball in the inside corner, gets the call from the home plate umpire, Bill Worthington. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out and Orr at first. Set on the mound is the left-hander, and he throws over to first, Orr back on his feet. Darkness has descended in Bethesda. No clouds in the sky on a beautiful night for baseball. Ritchie stares at first, 2-2 home. Schiavone hits a fly ball down the right field line. Long run for the right fielder, Seibert, and it's out of play into the seats. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bit of a slow day at the plate for Schiavone. A walk and a fly out after his home run and double last night, but still plenty of time to come alive. Ritchie pins that glove against his right shoulder as he leans in. Has the sign he likes, the 2-2, and Schiavone hits a line drive out to right center field. Back goes the right fielder, Seibert. He turns around in front of the warning track to make the catch for out number 1. And back to first goes Jacob Orr.
And the shortstop, number 13,
Sends Connor Rasmussen back to the plate. An 0 for 2 day, but 2 excellent at-bats for the Big Train shortstop. A deep fly out to right and a 10-pitch battle in the 4th. Eventually popped out to the shortstop, Patrick Sanchez. First pitch home, and he hits a tapper down the first base line. Kirk, the first baseman, fields, tries to tag out Rasmussen, and he does, just barely. Bill Worthington, the home plate umpire, makes the call. Ian Pittenger at first never made the call. Had a good angle at it, but it was the home plate umpire who called out Rasmussen. No argument from the Big Train. Over to second moves Orr in the tying run in scoring position in the top of the 6th with 2 down for Zeb Ruddle. Rasmussen with good speed, almost able to beat it out, but 2 down, the lefty Ruddle at the plate. Big Train down a run. And Ruddle steps out as Cannizzaro, the catcher, heads out to the mound. Back and forth we've gone all night. Cropdusters lead 4-3 as we take a look at our playoff bracket. In the Cal Ripken League, the Aces up 1-0 on the T-Bolts. A win tonight, they head to the championship series. Same goes for the Big Train. We're down to our final 4 teams. So Ruddle to the plate with a runner at second and 2 down. Potential turning point in this ball game. The lefty waits, first pitch, a called strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Ruddle hits 275 with runners in scoring position. Has had 40 at-bats with runners in scoring position so far this summer. And 13 in his 14 RBIs have come that way. 0-1, a foul ball down the left field line, and foul, 0-2 the count. Ritchie, ready to work. Ruddle, ready to hit. Ahead in the count with 2 outs. 0-2, Ruddle takes high with a fastball, a ball and 2 strikes. Ruddle 0 for 2 tonight. 0 for 6 start to the postseason. 1-2. Slider, and he pops it foul behind the plate to stay alive. A ball and 2 strikes. Or off the second. 4-3 Cropdusters, top of the 6th. 1-2 home. Ruddle takes a fastball well outside, and Canizaro has to stab at it to prevent it from going to the backstop. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is Casey Bishop, last night's walk-off hero. On a 2-2. Ruddle swings and misses at the slider, and the inning comes to an end. Ritchie gets out of the inning, and we head to the bottom of the 6th. Cropdusters still lead 4-3.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up.
Bottom of the 6th, top of the order at the plate. Darren Kuski returns to the mound, and Martin stands in. First pitch, outside with a fastball, a ball and no strikes. 4-3 Cropdusters. A chance to pad their lead. Scored in each of the last 2 innings. 1-0. And Martin takes low and inside with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. Two out. Martin takes a fastball called a strike on the inside corner. It's 2 balls and a strike as Kuski tries to battle back in the count. Martin holds the yellow bat behind his helmet. 2-1. And another called strike right at the knees with the fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Martin steps out to adjust his helmet. Rising freshman at Maryland. Back at the plate. 2-2 pitch. Hits a little looper foul down the third base line, and Martin able to stay alive. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One of the top-ranked shortstops coming out of the state of Maryland this past spring. Two. Fastball well outside. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Martin just 1 spot behind Chris Akopian in the overall rankings in the state of Maryland, according to Perfect Game. Akopian, the former Big Train member, earlier in the summer. 3-2. Martin hits a chopper back up the middle. The shortstop Rasmussen Field sets his feet right next to second base and throws out Martin for out number 1.
It's big because Martin, even though the last 2 were fielder's choices, had reached all 3 times in his previous 3 at-bats, and Martin is a speed threat at the top of this lineup. So that goes a long way for Kuski when going through the top part of this order.
Trying to put together a scoreless bottom of the 6th. Big Train trail by 1. Baumhofer at the plate with 1 down. And he takes a first pitch just inside, a ball and no strikes. Big Train have never lost a league semifinal game. 1-0. Baumhofer hits one sharply to the right side. Into a slide goes Bishop. The second baseman pops to his feet, throws to first in time for out number 2. What a play by Bishop at second. Again, flashes the leather just like he did last night. And quickly 2 away.
Yeah, he's been an underrated part of these first 2 games. Obviously, he does have the walk-off hit, but he has played a stellar second base.
So Matt Mirror to the plate with 2 down and nobody on. Kusky wheels and deals, and the first pitch fastball just below the knees. A ball and no strikes. Mirror grounded out into the 4-6-3 double play to end the 4th inning. 1-0. Fastball low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Ended the threat with the bases loaded for the Cropdusters. An inning they certainly feel like they could have scored more. 2-0. Low and outside with a fastball. 3 balls and no strikes. On deck is Seibert with his 2 walks today. Three-0. And it misses outside. Another fastball from Kusky. Ball 4, and Mira walks with 2 down.
Next, the right fielder, number 24 from Millersville University, John Seibert.
So Kusky back to the stretch as John Seibert steps back in. Mentioned those 2 walks. They sandwich a strikeout back in the 3rd. 4-3 Cropdusters. Bottom of the 6th. First pitch. Seibert hits a chopper left side. Rasmussen, the shortstop, waits on it. Fields with his glove, flips it to his hand, and throws to second for the force out to end the inning. On to the 7th we go. 4-3 the Cropdusters lead after a scoreless frame from Darren Kusky.
Wait for me. Keep watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. 2 kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. You're thinking.
Well, while you watch this game, we're watching both games. It's 4-2 T-Bolts as they head to the 8th in Silver Spring. And T-Bolts trying to force a game 3 in Alexandria tomorrow. The Cropdusters, as we head to the 7th here in Bethesda, trying to force a game 3 here in Bethesda. 4-3 their lead. Casey Bishop to the plate to lead off the top of the 7th. Reese Ritchie back to the mound, and the lefty works for them wind up for the first time. First pitch to the 9-hitter, and Bishop squares the bunt, pulls back, and takes a fastball well high. A ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0. Bishop fouls one back off the screen, a ball and a strike. The Big Train, with their semifinal success, have not faced an elimination game before the league championship series since 2014, and that was back when it was a double elimination bracket style tournament. 1-1 inside to Bishop, 2 balls and a strike. They lost early in that tournament to the Redbirds, but would advance all the way to the finals through the losers bracket and then lose in the championship game. 2-1, Bishop lines it over the head of the shortstop Sanchez and into left center field for a base hit. And Bishop leads off the top of the 7th with a single. And the Big Train, for the 5th time in 7 innings, have a runner at first and nobody out to begin an inning.
And now if you're the Cropdusters, you got to be careful here. Dixon Williams, who is making a run at Roller Bump Limited Player of the Game today for the Big Train, due up to the plate. 2 for 2, a homer, a single, a walk.
And he has scored all 3 runs for the Big Train. Runner at first. Williams swings, grounds one to third. The third baseman Swenda able to stab. Throw to second for 1. Back to first. It's a little late. The relay from Martin not in time, and Williams beats it out. He's aboard on the fielder's choice. Bishop out at second, but the speed threat of Williams stands at first.
And it's frustrating for the Cropdusters having to deal with such a speed threat, but they'll take that every time. They need that out, now just 8 outs away from living to see another day and being back here tomorrow.
Trying to keep their season alive and force a game 3, which would be winner takes all. Dean Twigo to the plate with 1 down and a runner at first. First pitch to the first baseman is the slider, and it's well inside as Twigo spins out of the way. Lefty ahead in the count, a ball and no strikes. RBI double back in the first. 1-0. Twigo hits a slow chopper right side. The second baseman Martin fields to Sanchez, the shortstop for 1. A laser beam to first, in time double play, and the top of the 7th comes to an end. Martin to Sanchez to Kirk, and the Cropdusters out of the 7th. Big Train down to their final 6 outs. We head to the bottom of the 7th. 7th inning stretch time from Bethesda, 4-3. Big Train trail by 1. Bottom of the 7th, 4-3 Cropdusters, and it's 5, 6, and 7 due up to face Darren Kuski. Chance to add on to the lead, but Kuski put up a 0 in the bottom of the 6th. Looks to do the same in the 7th. First pitch to Canizaro, and he watches a fastball perfectly placed on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. Canizaro, the right-handed bat at the plate. 0-1. Another fastball. He grounds it softly left side. The shortstop Rasmussen fields. Throw to first. A high throw. Twigo able to reach up and then make the catch and get his foot back on the base for out number 1. And Connor Rasmussen on that play almost threw it too softly. And in just that looping throw almost took Twygo off the bag. But again, his height able to help the Big Train get out number 1.
Yeah, he saved a few errors over there at first base today.
It's been fantastic for a natural outfielder. Swended to the plate. He watches a strike right at the knees with the fastball from Kuski. Nothing in 1. Command of Kuski looks excellent these last 2 innings. 0-1. Fastball. Soft grounder to the right side, right at the second baseman Bishop. He fields, glove with the glove, and throws to first in time for out number 2. So 2 quick outs and Jimmy Kirk to the plate. Sacrifice fly his last time up back in the 5th. Nobody on here in the bottom of the 7th. First pitch home, and the fastball called a strike on the outside corner, nothing in 1, and that pitch has been money for Darren Kuski this inning. 0-1 to the powerful right-hander. That fastball just a tad outside. It's a ball and a strike. Big Train have 3, 4, and 5 due up in the top of the 8th. 1-1. Just low with the fastball. 2 balls and a strike. And if Kuski can get out of this inning unscathed, it'll be a 1-run ball game for Ruffner, Hurd, and Orr. 2-1. Kirk fouls it off the screen down the first base side. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs.
Yeah, this is a big inning for Kuski because the Big Train retired quickly in the top half of the inning, and the offense down to their final 6 outs needs to keep the score where it is.
2-2. Kirk reaches out and pops one up, first base side and out of play. Over the seats. It's the gaggle of kids try and track down a souvenir. 2 outs, 2 balls, and 2 strikes. Nobody on for the Cropdusters in the bottom of the 7th. Kuski wheels and deals, and the fastball slips out of the hand, and it goes right over the head of Kirk. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes, and it looks like Kuski landed awkwardly, and Schiavone heads out to the mound to chat with his right-hander, and here comes Craig Lopez, the pitching coach.
Yeah, you also hope it's not something with the arm.
And Schiavone calls over the trainer, Danita Valentine. Kuski clearly not comfortable. And Coach Lopez, the pitching coach, chats with him. Here comes Danita Valentine, the trainer.
Yeah, he tapped that left leg, so it's when he planted that left leg in front, it must have slipped or something happened, and that's why that ball was nowhere close.
Well, we wait to see if Kuski is okay. Hopefully he is. Had a 2-2 pitch, and it just slipped. There's action starting to pick up in the Big Train bullpen. But obviously the hope is Kuski can finish this inning. Well, looks like he will. He stays out on the mound, at least to try and throw a couple warm-up pitches. So you watch Coach Lopez and Dr. Valentine examine the right-hander, along with Bill Worthington, our home plate umpire. And let's see what the Big Train end up doing. If they do bring in a new arm, he will have as long as he needs to warm up, but the hope is that Kuski can get out of this inning. And back to the dugout goes Craig Lopez. Dr. Valentine jogs back to her spot down the third base line, and Kuski to stay in the game, and that's a really great sign for the Big Train. So Jimmy Kirk at the plate. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Here it comes. And a ground ball foul down the first base line, and the count remains full. Give you an update from Silver Spring, all tied at 4 between the Cropdusters and the T-Bolts and the Aces in the bottom of the 8th. 2 runs for the Aces in the top half of the inning, tied it up. 3-2 to Kirk again. He hits a high fly ball to deep right center. Ruddle goes back. All he can do is watch it fly. Jimmy Kirk goes deep. His 6th home run of the summer. And the Ace and the Cropdusters expand their lead. It's 5-3 in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, for Kuski, the fastball was going to have to be the pitch because he didn't want to allow the walk. And with him, slipping, that was clearly the pitch that he was the most comfortable with. But he worked it like 3 or 4 straight times. And, of course, if you're Jimmy Kirk, a power hitter in this league, you're not going to miss a pitch like that.
Well, that's the 2nd home run Kirk has hit to that part of the ballpark. Shows the power he has. And here comes Craig Lopez to the mound, and that's going to do it for the night of Darren Kuski. We'll take a break and be right back on the Big Train Baseball Network. It's 5-3 Cropdusters in the bottom of the 7th. Welcome back to the bottom of the 7th. Jack Robinson on the mound. He's the new pitcher to face Tay Robinson. A pair of Robinsons square off in this at-bat. A 1.31 ERA for Jack in 7 appearances this summer. Looks for the final out in the 7th, and I think the Big Train hope he can give them an 8th inning as well.
Yeah, the offense the last few innings for the Big Train haven't been there. The bullpen has done very well for the Cropdusters in this series, really, because after Morose was taken out of the game in Game 1, they held down the fort until the 12th.
The first pitch to Robinson upstairs. Ball and no strikes.
But hopefully Robinson can have control of the command a little bit, especially with the fastball.
1-0, grounder up the middle. Rasmussen able to stab it. The shortstop spins and throws in time to end the inning. And Connor Rasmussen again makes an excellent defensive play. On to the 8th we go. It's 5-3 Cropdusters as they get a solo shot from Jimmy Kirk in the 7th. Teddy Ruffner leads things off. It's 3, 4, 5. Due up for the big train. They're down by 2 just like last night. And they have 6 outs to play with as Reese Ritchie back to the mound. The lefty winds and deals. And it's hit high in the air to center field. Mira takes a few steps in and a few steps to his left, and he makes the catch on one pitch for 1 away. So Jeffrey Hurd back to the plate to face the lefty Ritchie. Big train need offensive life.
Yeah, and if the big train are going to do anything, it has to be now. That's nothing against some of the hitters lower in the lineup. It's just that part of the lineup tonight has not found success. 1 for 9 from the 7, 8, 9 part of the order.
So Hurd 0 for 2 today with 2 strikeouts and a walk. First pitch to him, and he takes the fastball outside, a ball and no strikes. Had 2 hits in the win last night, including the home run to tie it in the 9th. 1-0. Slider well inside, and the left-hander at the plate spins out of the way. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Infield shifted all the way to the right. The shortstop Sanchez a few steps to the right of second base. 2-0. Outside with the fastball. 3 balls and no strikes. If Hurd reaches the tying run, comes to the plate in Jacob Orr. Inside ball 4. Hurd jumps out of the way. He walks to bring up Orr as the tying run in the top of the 8th. And the big train, the road team, but they play in their home ballpark, and the crowd starting to come alive just like they did last night.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of the late schedule change, not a lot of people compared to last night here, but still a great crowd out to support the big train. Last night, though, was insane.
Sold out crowd as Orr waits. First pitch inside with a fastball, a ball and no strikes. Orr no home runs on the summer, but did hit 3 for Maryland this past spring. A home run could tie the game. 1-0, and he fouls it right back to the screen, a ball and a strike. Late game heroics between these teams at Shirley Povich Field. Nothing new. In the last 3 they've played, the lead has changed hands in the 9th inning or later in all 3. It's currently the top of the 8th, and the big train down by 2, trying to get the party started an inning earlier. 1-1. Or a line drive right at the second baseman, Martin, able to make the catch on the move to his right for out number 2.
That's a tough break, or good exit velocity off that one. Pitches right to the second baseman, Martin, who is also another really good defensive player on this Cropdusters team.
So Schiavone last chance in the 8th. The crowd comes alive again with Hurd off of first. Ritchie on the mound. Schiavone swings and misses at the first pitch. No balls and a strike. 0 for 2 day, a walk back in the 2nd. Cropdusters fighting for their playoff lives. Big Train trying to send themselves back to the league championship series. 0-1 pitch. Upstairs to Schiavone, a ball and a strike. Catcher steps out. Wipes the sweat off his face with his left sleeve. Taps the bat on the plate and steps back in. Second year with the big train for Schiavone, trying to come through in the clutch. 1-1 and a called strike on the lower outside corner. The count, a ball and 2 strikes with 2 down.
We'll see if they go something off speed here with Schiavone. He's always looking for the fastball at the plate, and he's had problems with that pitch.
1-2. Schiavone line drive over the head of the shortstop Sanchez. Into left field, a base hit. His first hit of the night. Hurd moves over to second. The tying run aboard. The go-ahead run at the plate in Connor Rasmussen.
And there it is, getting the fastball from the lefty, and Schiavone, he's not going to miss that pitch. He was a little bit late early on, but that one was well high in the zone. Would have been tough to hit even if he swung on time, but a 1-2 fastball in the zone I don't think is what the lefty had intended to do.
Schiavone takes advantage. 2 on and 2 out. The lefty Rasmussen at the plate. First pitch home, and the fastball low and outside, a ball and no strikes. Rasmussen without a collegiate home run, but has flashed power at times so far this summer.
And nearly had one in D.C. in that second game of the doubleheader.
1-0. Outside with the fastball again. 2 balls, no strikes. Canizaro, the catcher, drops the baseball, but Hurd remains at second, and Schiavone stays at first. It might be now or never for the big train. Rasmussen twirls that bat towards the mound as he rests it over his left shoulder. 2-0. Rasmussen chops it foul off his foot. It's 2 balls and a strike. On deck, Zeb Ruddle. But Rasmussen has to keep the line moving for the big train and get their center fielder to the plate. 5-3 Cropdusters, top of the 8th. 2 down and 2 on. Ritchie set at the belt. The lefty looks back at second. 2-1 pitch. Rasmussen takes the slider inside. 3 balls and a strike. Do the big train have one more late comeback in them? Ritchie ready. Rasmussen ready. 3-1. Rasmussen, slow chopper left side. Sanchez, the shortstop field, throws across his body in time to get him. And the inning comes to an end. Sanchez flashes the leather one more time. And we head to the bottom of the 8th with the Cropdusters ahead 5-3.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the buggy train till the sun comes up. Ride the buggy train, ride the buggy train, ride the buggy train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, fix up. Boogie down, fix up.
We welcome you back to Shirley Povich Field. Here's the bracket. Final 4 teams. Both the T-Boats and the Cropdusters ahead, looking to force Game 3. Is all deciding with the winner to the championship series as Jack Robinson returns to the mound. And the man who ended the top of the 8th with a fantastic defensive play, Patrick Sanchez, to the plate. First pitch home, and the fastball misses outside. A ball and no strikes. Sanchez 1 for 3 today, a single in his last at-bat. Robinson set on the mound. 1-0. Soft ground ball down the third base line, but foul. A ball and a strike. Big Train trying to keep this game where it's at in a 2-run deficit heading into the top of the 9th. They will look for one final comeback. 1-1 home. Slider skips in the dirt. Easy take for Sanchez. 2 balls and a strike. Big Train in danger of losing their first league semifinal game in team history since the semifinal series began back in 2015. A perfect 15-0. Including last night's win, 2-1. Sanchez ropes one down the third base line, but foul out in front of the slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is Braden Martin, the leadoff man for the Cropdusters. 2-2. Slider catches the inside corner, a called third strike, and down goes Sanchez for out number 1. Really nice pitch by Jack Robinson for the strikeout, and with 1 away, Braden Martin comes to the plate. A ground out to shortstop in his last trip to the plate. It's the lefty. The open stance stands in. First pitch from Robinson, and Martin watches a fastball miss just low and outside. A ball and no strikes. Cropdusters trying to force a decisive game 3 tomorrow. 1-0. Martin watches a fastball catch at the knees, a ball and a strike. Robinson shrugs his shoulders, lowers his glove to the belt. 1-1. A grounder right side. Bishop, the second baseman, ranges in, fields and throws across his body in time for out number 2. And the Big Train retire the big speed threat at the top of the lineup. And Will Baumhofer comes to the plate with 2 down and nobody on.
At the very least, this is what you can do if you're Jack Robinson. Try to keep the score where it is, get this last out here, and see if the offense has a little more magic in it.
First pitch to Baumhofer. Low and inside, a ball and no strikes. Big Train need 2 in the top of the 9th. Far from impossible, but might be against all odds. 1-0. Baumhofer takes low, 2 balls and no strikes. They did it last night. They need a little deja vu. But from a different part of the lineup. 8, 9, and 1 upcoming for the Big Train. 2-0. Baumhofer taps it off the plate, and it dribbles foul behind the dish. It's 2 balls and a strike. From Erdelschweiger to Kuski to Jack Robinson. 3 pitchers tonight for the Big Train. Going to give the offense a chance in the 9th. On a 2-1. Baumhofer grounds it to the right side. Bishop, the second baseman, to his right, sets his feet, fields, and throws to first in time for the 3rd out. On to the 9th we go. The Big Train need 9th inning magic once again. They trail 5-3 with 3 outs to play with. Reese Ritchie returns to the mound. The Cropdusters 3 outs away from forcing a decisive Game 3 here tomorrow. And Jack Guerrero pinch hits to begin the top of the 9th. Replaces Zeb Ruddle. A lot of ways the Big Train can make defensive substitutions if they can get to the bottom of the 9th. They trail 5-3. The Big Train crowd comes to life again. Lefty on lefty battle. Ritchie winds and deals. And Guerrero takes a fastball right at the knees, called a strike, 0-1. 9th inning comebacks have become the norm between these two teams at Shirley Povich Field. As Ritchie, the lefty, winds and deals an 0-1, and a swing and a miss at the slider. Guerrero down 0-2.
And remember, it was with 2 outs, 2 quick outs as well in that 9th inning. It seemed like the 9th was going to come and go extremely quickly, and of course, not the case.
0-2 outside with a slider, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, 9th inning comeback for the Big Train last night. The last 3 games between these two teams, the lead has changed hands in the 9th inning or later all 3 times. 1-2, Guerrero slaps one foul down the third base line to stay alive. A ball and 2 strikes. There is history in this 9th inning. Some Povich magic. 1-2, Guerrero takes outside with a slider. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes, and he's battled back to even the count. On deck stands Casey Bishop. Top of the order waits after him. 2-2. Inside with a slider. Guerrero jumps out of the way. The count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ritchie ready on the mound. Guerrero stands in at the plate. 3-2 pitch. It is a called third strike at the very last second by Bill Worthington. And Guerrero had already flipped the bat, but he goes down for out number 1.
Yeah, that's tough. Guerrero couldn't get the bat off the shoulder, and that's a call that could go either way. Very, very close on that outside corner.
So with 1 out, Casey Bishop to the plate. Had the RBI single to win it in the 12th. Looking to get the rally started in the 9th, down 2. The first pitch to him, and the fastball misses low and outside. A ball and no strikes. Top of the order waits around the corner. Bishop can get aboard. 1-0. Slider checks his swing. Does he go around? Yes, he does, says Ian Pittenger, the first base umpire. Pitch in the dirt, a ball and a strike on the swing from Bishop. And time called. Bishop steps out. And Bill Worthington wanders down the third base line. It's our home plate umpire. Never took off the mask, but he's staring at the Big Train dugout. Have to wonder if something's being said. 1-1. Bishop, a swing and a miss at a slider on the inside part of the plate. Down a ball and 2 strikes. Ritchie on the mound. Bishop in the batter's box. 1-2 pitch. Ground ball to the right side. Martin waits for it. The second baseman fields, flips to first, 2 down. And the Big Train, just like last night, down to their final out, down 2 runs.
And this is the guy that you want up. Dixon Williams have a night. 2 for 3. 2 big hits, including a home run.
Also reached on a walk. He has scored all 3 runs for the Big Train. Needs to score if the Big Train want any hope in this one. First pitch to him, and a slider stays upstairs. A ball and no strikes. Dean Twigo stands on deck. Ruffner would follow if Both Williams and Twigo can reach. 1-0. A fastball just outside. 2 balls and no strikes. And Williams in a good hitter's count. 5-3 Cropdusters, top of the 9th. 2-0. Williams takes a called strike at the knees. A late call again from our home plate umpire. It's 2 balls and a strike with 2 down. Ritchie wheels and deals a 2-1. Slider, swing and a miss. Williams fishes at a slider in the dirt. And the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Big Train down to their final strike. The lefty at the plate. The lefty on the mound. 2 outs, 2-2. Williams fouls one away. Just gets a piece of it. It hits off the glove of Canizaro, the catcher. And the count stays alive. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, it was late swinging on that one. And that's a play where you hear it every time. It's a cliche. It's a play that you can never prepare for if you're a catcher.
It is more luck than it is skill. Another 2-2 home. Swing and a miss. Williams strikes out. The Cropdusters keep their season alive. They battle one final time for a spot in the final tomorrow night at 7 p.m. A win or go home game 3 right here at Shirley Povich Field.
And I'm glad you said that because, for the Big Train, unfortunate they can't win the game, but they still have another day. For them, the circumstances, even though you got to play another game here at home, even though you get to play another game at home, it wasn't really a home game. A large group of Cropdusters fans came, and so last minute. It was completely different crowd-wise than it was last night. So they're going to look forward to tomorrow night having a packed house again, rallying behind them, hoping that they can win the series.
We will see you tomorrow night. But first, Adam, do you have a roll-a-bump player of the game?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Dixon Williams. I know he struck out to end the game there, but Dixon is a big reason that the Big Train were even in the game to begin with. He had a couple of base hits, the walk. He was critical at the top of the lineup, and it was something that he didn't do last night. They didn't get much from Dixon Williams, whether in the field or offensively last night, but he totally turned it around, had a great night, and he hopes that continues into tomorrow's game.
Well, we'll have a game 3 tomorrow. First pitch will be at 7 p.m. Catch our pregame show at 6:50 p.m. Until then, for Adam Glover, Harrison Myers, I'm Eli Kleinman. Good night. Cropdusters win 5-3. They force a decisive game 3 right here at Povich Field tomorrow.